Hello students, how are you all? You are watching my channel Spark Virtual Academy, and in today's lecture we are going to learn the last topic of this chapter, second number chapter, that is the chemical equations and how to balance these chemical equations. So basically chemical equations mean the smart way to describe any chemical reaction. Okay, we did in our last lecture about the chemical reactions, and we did the 5 types of those chemical reactions. Now if we are going to describe those chemical reactions in terms of the symbols or formulas, then those are known as the chemical equations. Okay, so let's take an example of two molecules there. For example, if we have hydrogen and then we have oxygen, that is H2, and that is the O2. Since they both are the gases, so they always exist in the diatomic form. So when they both react, then water is formed, that is the H2O. So the left side of this equation is known as the reactant side, okay, and the right hand side is known as the product side. Now, what are the reactants? Reactants are the raw materials, the raw atoms which are reacted to form another product, the useful product there, okay? Now, this arrow, this indicates the direction of the reaction. For example, the tail of this arrow shows the reactants and the head of this arrow shows the products. So that is the chemical equation, an example of the chemical equation in which we have determined that how the reactants are reacted to form the useful product there. If you can see here, at the reactant side we have two molecules of the hydrogen. However, on the product side again we have the same two molecules of hydrogen. But in the case of the oxygen, there are two molecules, but here only one molecule is combined with the hydrogen. So as you can see there, the amount of the reactants is not equally the amount of the products. So balancing the chemical equation means there should be the equal number of the molecules at the reactant side and on the product side. If the number of the products or the reactants are not equal to each other, then we have to make those both equal. So in balancing the chemical equation, the first thing that we should take care of is what, when we are balancing and when we have done, the number of reactants should be equal to the number of products. If the atoms which are in diatomic form, you can see here H2O2 or H2O, or even they are in the molecular form, you do not have to put any number in right here at the bottom. Whenever we are going to balance those atoms, we have to multiply a multiple number with the coefficient of the unbalanced product or unbalanced atom. Okay? So to balance the unbalanced atoms, we have to multiply the multiple numbers with the coefficients of that unbalanced atom. Let's do this example. For example, if we are writing down the same example again, as you can see here, there is H2 and O2, and the reactant is H2O, or product is H2O. Now here you can see there, at the reactant side, we have two atoms, there is H, hydrogen and oxygen, and the number of the hydrogen atom here is 2, and the number of the oxygen atoms is 2 here again. But if we move towards the product side, the atoms are same, hydrogen and oxygen, and the number here The hydrogen number is 2, however, there is only one atom of the oxygen in water molecule. So as you can see there, hydrogen is balanced, but oxygen is not balanced. So you have to write down this equation again. Now, the unbalanced side lies towards the product side, and that is the odd one as well. So what you have to do, you have to put 2 into the coefficient of this molecule. You cannot put 2 in the middle of these both because they both are combined together as a compound. So whenever you are giving any, you are multiplying any number, then you have to multiply with the entire compound there. So it means this 2 is now multiplied with this hydrogen, and this 2 is multiplied with this oxygen as well. If you count down the number of the molecules again, at the reactant side there are 2 hydrogen atoms and oxygen are 2 again. But if you count down here at the product side, the hydrogens are 2 times 2 is 4 and oxygen is 2. Now, as you can see there, oxygen is balanced, but at the reactant side, the hydrogen is not balanced. So again, what you have to do, you have to put a 2 in front of the hydrogen. So now, if you count down again, the hydrogen at the reactant side is 4 and oxygen is 2. And at the product side, again, the hydrogen is 4 and oxygen is 2. So here, as you can see there, the number of the atoms, the number of the molecules at the reactant side and at the product side, they both are equal to each other. So that is the chemically balanced equation. Oxygen. When they both are reacted with each other, the carbon dioxide and water is formed. That is the example of combustion reaction as well. So again, you have to count down the number of, the elements at the both sides, at the reactant side as well as at the product side. If you count down the reactant side, that is the reactant side, and that is the product side, as you can see here. Okay, there are 3 different atoms which are reacting together. Number 1 is carbon, the second one is hydrogen, and the last one is oxygen. If you count down the number of atoms here, carbon it's 1, hydrogen it's 4, and oxygen it's 2. They are all reacting together, they are burning together, and at the product side again the same number of the atoms are there, but the ratio will be different. Here carbon is 1, hydrogen is 2, but as you can count there, oxygen is 1 and 2, 3. So 3 oxygens are there. Let's take this example. Now carbon, they both are balanced, but hydrogen is not balanced, and oxygen again, it is not balanced. As you can see there, oxygen at the reactant side, it's even number, but the oxygen which is at the right side, the product side, that is the in odd numbers, that is unbalanced basically. And the odd number, the odd oxygen lies with this molecule, with the water molecule. Now what you have to do, you have to put a small 2 right way here without thinking anything. As I told you, whenever you are going to balance the equations, and if you see any unbalanced atom, and the unbalanced atom which is in all numbers, you have to make it even by giving 2. So you will put here 2, and then we will count again. So let's start again. Now that is CH4, that is O2, that is CO2, and that is 2H2O. Okay, I'm just changing the pen. Here we put 2 in front of H2O. Now let's count the elements again. Here carbon, it is 1, hydrogen, it is 4, and oxygen, it is 2. And if you see there, the carbon, it is 1, the hydrogen, now you can see there 2 times 2 is 4 because this 2 is multiplied with this 2. So it becomes 2 times 2 is 4. And oxygen, count down 2 of this atom and 2 of this. It becomes 4 oxygens here. So carbon is balanced, hydrogen is balanced, but oxygen is not balanced now. Now at the reactant side, we have 2 oxygens. So you can see here, the oxygen is single. So we can put here 2 and it becomes 2 times 2 is 4. and it will be balanced automatically. So in the last step, we are going to put this 2 in front of the oxygen. You would write down the other equation same. You would write down 2 and then O2, and then you would write down CO2 plus, and then you would write down 2 and then H2O. Now if we count down the elements again, as you can see there, carbon is 1, hydrogen is 4, and oxygen, they are 4 again. And at the product side is 1, hydrogen is 4, and oxygen is 4. So here the atoms at the reactant side and the atoms or the molecules which are at the product side, they both are equal in number of atoms. So this is the chemically balanced equation. We are doing another example, a very simple example. There is an example of carbon and oxygen, and they are forming carbon monoxide. It is very simple example. We have again taken the third reaction, the third type of the reaction, in which carbon, which is in solid form, if it reacts with the oxygen, and it can form the carbon monoxide gas. So as you can count there, the carbon and oxygen atoms here at the reactant side are 1 and 2 respectively, and at the product side the carbon and oxygen are in the ratio of 1 and 1. So again, you will see there, carbon is balanced, but oxygen is unbalanced. But at the reactant side, it is an even number, while at the product side, it is an odd number. So wherever there is unbalanced and odd number, we have to make it even. So we would put a small 2 right away there. Okay. If we put 2 here, it means this 2 is multiplied with C, and this 2 is also multiplied with the oxygen. So before counting the number of atoms again, you have to rewrite down the equation again. So it will be C plus O2, and it will be CO, and we have put here 2. So now let's count the elements again. So here at the reactant side, carbon is 1 and oxygen is 2, and at the product side, the carbon and the oxygen, they both are 2, 2. So now oxygen is balanced at the both sides, but carbon becomes unbalanced now. Now at the reactant side, the carbon is now in odd number and an unbalanced factor. So we have to put a small 2 in front of this carbon as well. So the next equation will become like this. 2C plus O2, and it's equal to CO. Okay, now we have to at last again count down the number of atoms at the both sides. So it's carbon and oxygen. Carbon is 2, oxygen is 2, and at the reactant side they are again 2 and 2. So as you can see there, at the both sides, at the reactant side and at the product side, the number of atoms are equal to each other. So that is chemically the balanced equation. So I hope you got some new things about the chemical equation and about some steps which are to be followed in balancing those chemical equations. Yet if you have any other examples to be solved, and if you're not able to solve those at your homes, you can ask me in my comment box. Keep watching my channel for the latest videos of this subject as well. I will also start some other lessons as well along with this chemistry. So till the next lecture, Allah Hafiz, see you.